Hello and welcome to the Blue Water Running Podcast. It's our second anniversary, and it has been an incredible privilege to get to know local athletes and hear many amazing and inspiring stories from the Blue Water area and beyond. As we move into our third year, the top two episodes of all time so far are Season 1, Episode 15, with Matt Armelagos of Michigan Cross Country Speed Ratings, and Season 1, Episode 14, with Thomas Westphal, a former Anchor Bay High School and current MSU runner. The very first episode of the podcast aired 2 years ago on March 28th, 2024, and featured 2023 Armada graduate Camden Khon, who also happens to be my oldest child. Camden runs cross-country, indoor, and outdoor track for Spring Arbor University, where he recently earned indoor NAIA All-American status by taking third in the mile in 4:04, in a race separated by tenths of a second, and eighth in the distance medley relay. He also garnered his first cross-country All-American award with a top 30 finish at the national meet in November, and set the course record earlier that month by winning the Crossroads Conference Cross-Country Championship. Camden is the first athlete from Spring Arbor to be named the USTF-CCCA National Athlete of the Week for cross-country, and earned the honor again during the indoor track season for his win at the Notre Dame Mayo Invitational Open Mile, where he ran a 4:03.9, a school record and the number 12 all-time finish in the NAIA. He is back on the pod to reflect on his national meet experience, how he has dealt with his emotions regarding his race, and his continuing quest for the sub-4-minute mile. While many people know Cam as a runner, they may not know he competes while living with an autoimmune disease called ankylosing spondylitis. Ankylosing spondylitis, abbreviated AS, is a chronic inflammatory arthritis primarily affecting the spine and pelvic joints, causing severe back pain, stiffness, and potential spinal fusion, known as bamboo spine, along with many other symptoms. It usually strikes teens and young adults, with symptoms often worsening at night or with rest and improving with movement. While no cure exists, treatment includes exercises, physical therapy, and medication. Males are 3 times as likely as females to be diagnosed. More than 3 million people live with AS in the United States, and every May, there is a World AS Day to bring awareness to the disease. Running and living with arthritis seem to be contradictory activities, but we'll chat with Camden about how he approaches and addresses the challenges that come with AS and how he hasn't let this diagnosis stop him from achieving his goals. Welcome back to the Blue Water Running Podcast, Camden, and thanks for joining me.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Well, let's dive into your recent race at the NAIA National Meet. So you were one of the favorites going in, and with about 2 laps to go, you took the lead, went for it, and then ultimately finished third in the closest finish in that meet, and maybe ever in the mile in NAIA history, 0.5 of a second between the top 3 finishers. So talk about that race. You can touch on the prelim, what your mindset was going in, how you felt before and while you were running, and then how you felt about the end.
Yeah, so to start, I already knew the race was going to be a really hard race because the 2 guys that I finished right next to, the top guy, Tristan, we have raced each other a ton of times, but I would say he's probably got the best kick in the NAIA. I mean, he just, if it's not the best kick, it's like the most perfectly timed kicked. Like, he always just kicks at the perfect time. And so like that was shown in the mile and the DMR and the 4x8. So like, I knew it was going to be a battle. And so I kind of, going into it, had to prep myself for the fact that there's a good chance that I won't win this race, but I knew that I wanted to go for it. And I wanted to leave nothing in the tank. But yeah, the prelims definitely played a factor in it because I was already tired from the mile prelim. Because I still had to run 4:11, so it wasn't like an easy race. Because we were in the faster prelim than the other heat of the prelim. And then the DMR prelim, obviously, had to run an extra lap. So that really tired me out because we already came through 4:15, and then we're running a 29 last 200. So I mean that was close to all out as well. So I was already really tired. And so my strategy was kind of I was fine with a tactical race, but Kip Legat, the guy from Trinity Western, he took it out. He took it out hot, and so I kind of knew that I had to at least stay on him. But I was definitely hurt, and I mean the past races were I could definitely feel that on my legs. But all that to say, like that was probably the coolest race I've ever been a part of because of how I've never been able to go to the well like I did. Like literally give everything. I mean, obviously, if anyone watches the video, they can see that because I literally passed out at the finish line, or like my legs gave out at the finish line. So even though I got third, I was super happy with the fact that I was able to give everything. Um, Especially after two hard races. And it was cool to experiment. Like I tried bicarb for the first time, which I know is getting big in the running world. I'm not really sure if it helped me or not. It's hard to tell when my legs were already fatigued, but yeah, I don't know. The race was just it was a really cool opportunity. Obviously, like it still kind of haunts me leading the race with 200 to go and then getting third. But yeah, it was a great learning experience.
Well, let's back up a minute. You said you had to run an extra lap in the distance medley relay. You were the anchor leg. So explain how that came to be. How did that happen?
That's a great question.
I mean, it's a national championship.
Yeah.
So you usually don't have mistakes like that.
Yeah, that was, I don't want to like complain about it, but that was ridiculous and unacceptable because like, you're at the national meet and the people's one job is to count your laps. And so, and then also not only did that fatigue everyone that had to run an extra lap, it also screwed over the guys that kind of started to die after 1600 because we had to run 1800 meters. Not to mention, we then had a 12-team final, or maybe it was more than that. I can't remember because there was at least two extra teams that got in because they filed a protest, which rightfully so. So I don't know how that happened, but I wasn't super happy about that. I thought that was just ridiculous.
From my vantage point as a spectator, I think what happened is you ended up, the top couple of teams that were qualifying ended up lapping some of the slower teams, and then the lap counting got misconstrued with who is on what lap.
Yeah.
And it's something important to note is in a national championship race at the NAI level, anyway, I don't know about NCAA, but I'm assuming it's similar. If the laps are miscounted, even if you know how many you've done and you stop, if the lap count says you have another lap to go, you have to run an extra one or they don't actually count it, correct?
Yeah. I didn't know the rule. My coach told me after. He's like, you did the right thing. Because honestly, if I would have, I thought the race felt long. Like I was like, this feels way harder than it should. But if I would have known that I was at 1600, I 100% would have just stopped, whether there was a lap on there or not, because I would have been like, I'm not running an extra 1800, but that could have ended up screwing me. Because the technical rule, which I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's you have to go until the bell lap sounds. So,
right.
But we might have probably gotten in on protest anyways. But the whole race was just,
It was crazy. Well, I know that some of the teams that didn't make it in, that did protest, they did because had they known that was the last lap, they probably would have approached their final lap a little differently. Like maybe they would have kicked sooner or, yeah, it was very crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe that happened, but it's kind of funny now. But
well, you have the school record for the fastest 1800 meter leg.
Yeah.
National champ in the 1800.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like you said, you went for the win in the mile. You knew that you would be at a disadvantage if it came down to a kick because there are some really fast kickers. You wanted to have that gap, and had you been able to hold on, I'm thinking you would have won. But with I don't know, the last straightaway, maybe you could see like the fatigue hit and you were trying to hang on, and then just right at the finish line, they caught you. So, for 4 minutes and some, we thought we were going to see a national champ. And then with about 5 seconds or so, the ending was a little different. So disappointment is inevitably part of racing, and you've had to really deal with that on a pretty big stage this season. So that doesn't diminish your amazing accomplishments. You've broken the school record, you've come close to 4 minutes, you've been All-American, 3rd in the country is an amazing thing. But I know you're not satisfied with that. So how have you approached moving forward from that race and trying to focus on, the positives?
Yeah, I mean, I've never dealt with something like that in racing necessarily because I've never been, I guess, at that level where I was competing for a national title. And so it was something new, like, and it was bittersweet because like the fact that I was able to be even in like contention for the national title is such a cool thing, but to be so close, like to literally like see the finish line, think you're gonna win, and then you just can't get there. Like, I don't know. I've done a lot of reflection on it, and I think it's a good thing because it's gonna fuel me. Part of it's anger, but part of it's just like I'm ready to like do this again, like in the 1500 outdoor. Like I want a championship, and so I think it's gonna fuel me to just. I mean, I have to race Tristan again, and I have to race the other guy again, so it's not gonna be like a cakewalk by any means. So I think now I know like I'm gonna have to work for this. Like I'll probably have to end up passing out the line again if I want to win. But I think overall it was a good thing. But it's definitely like something I'll replay in my head for a long time. Like being that close, and not being able to win it obviously sucks. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm just grateful that I was able to even be in contention for it. And how I've ran this season, I was pretty happy with that. And, it's not over. Like, indoor is a big deal for sure. And the national championship would have been awesome. But I honestly think outdoor 1500, like, that's more well respected. Like, outdoor is just more of a competitive season. So I think I just want to come back, and I have some other things to work through. Like, it's really hard for me to run 4 events, and do relays and open events. And so I think that kind of played a role in like me not being able to finish strong the last couple meters was because, I was just fatigued. And so I don't think, not that it can't be done, but it's really hard to race 4 times all out.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I think an advantage that Tristan had was he had teammates who were running prelim legs in relays that he didn't have to do. And then he would just do the final. Not to diminish, he raced 3 times as well. 3 races.
Right.
And then Kip Legat did not run anything but the mile. He didn't run any relays. That was his only event. So he just had to qualify in the prelim and then run in the final.
Yeah.
And then something else that was probably playing a role, maybe not directly, but indirectly, was you had a pretty significant event with one of your teammates prior to the meet. That's not my information to share, but you had a teammate who was not able to compete once he got to the meet because of some medical emergency, and then you were the one with him when that happened. And it was very stressful, and you were obviously thinking about your friend over, I'm going to run, and inevitably he was pulled from your relay and from his events, and that that takes a psychological toll. So I not to make excuses, but to be a human and understand, we can't control everything, and sometimes things are just outside of our control, and we can't influence everything. So we can just do the best we can do on any given day. And you did. In the stands, man, I bet those people were talking about that race for hours because obviously I was watching and cheering, but the stands were alive. Like, it was a race, that's what people come to see. And it was very exciting, and nobody really knew. At the very end, it was really hard to tell. So, and then you disappeared for a little bit because you bounced off the rail, rolled into the pit. So the banked track that this was at is elevated. And so, if you're on the infield or the outside, you're below the runners. So you couldn't see you when you kind of fell over the edge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this actually the other day. And like, honestly, that's the thing I enjoy racing like for the most is I want people to like, this might sound like, I don't want this to come out like arrogantly, but like, I want people to like want to enjoy to watch the race. Like I want to make it like a fun race that it's like, okay, like this is the event that like people want to watch because because we're going to give it like everything and it's going to come down to the wire. Like, honestly, I would rather lost like that than just there was no competition and I just won by like 5 seconds. Cause to me, that's like not satisfying, but I've never been in an atmosphere like that. That was electric. Like there were so many people, like the stands were packed. The track was lined with people. And like, that's one of like my favorite memories that I'll cherish is like, even though I was coming down the home stretch and like I was dying and people were passing at the last second, like
Right.
it was so loud. Like I couldn't hear anything. It was just, I don't know, like I feel like you don't get very many moments like that. And that to me is like my favorite part. Like it's just like how other people were enjoying just watching the race. Like that's what I like really want to
a professional photographer took an amazing photo of you midair with your arm out, you're lunging for the line. The other two guys are leaning, and that like there aren't many moments like that. And you asked me, when we found you after the race for the first time, and you were kind of in the moment, and you asked me, Mom, did you cry? That was your first question. And I said, yeah. But I also had to do some reflecting because as your mom, I knew how disappointed you were going to be, even though there's a lot of pride. Those two feelings are not exclusive. And so I thought to myself, well, we can't control everything despite our best efforts. I mean, you could have run that race 100 different ways and it still could have ended that way. You just don't know. Many people would give anything for an opportunity like that. Like they'll never run at that level, And so that is something to not take for granted. And our lives are not defined by our achievements. That's not what makes us worthy. That's not our identity. I know that's hard to accept when you are a runner because you do feel like it is your identity. But, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you'll remember that. They'll remember that. But that's probably it, right?
Yeah.
And so it'll fade into part of history. And there are much more important things in life that are also valuable. And we learn a lot about ourselves when we don't win. So perspective is everything.
That's definitely a big thing. Like after I finish, I didn't want to, I was frustrated and I wanted to complain and I wanted to be like, oh, well, this is because I had to run 1,800 meters, blah, blah, blah. Like I wanted to just complain and I wanted, or just find an excuse, I guess, and be angry. And I think I did learn a lot about like how to handle like who I am, like when I have a tough loss, like, and I'm glad that I handled it the way I did. I feel like I kind of just kept my head up and tried to just be like, hey, I'm grateful for the opportunity that I even got to do this. And not that many people have that opportunity. So yeah, I definitely agree. It can show your true colors in a good or a bad way, depending on how you handle it. And not to say that I obviously had feelings of anger and, I probably watched the video of the race. Honestly, like the last 2 weeks I've watched it almost every day.
Oh boy.
Like literally just not the whole race necessarily, but just the finish. Cause it's like, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so close. And like, what could I have done differently? There's a million things you go over. But at the end of the day, I lost. And watching the video 100 times isn't going to change the fact that I lost the race. But like I said, I want that to like kind of light a fire to like for this outdoor season. And
you never want to feel that way again.
Yeah. And if I do, that's fine. But I want to obviously win.
Right.
So,
well, like I told you on that day, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel sad. It's completely normal, and you have to, or you won't process it correctly. Like if it's fine, I'm fine.
yeah.
You don't give yourself time to grieve something that you've worked for a really long time, and it's a big goal, and that anyone would feel that. But none of the thoughts of being grateful and being proud can always take away the sting. So you just have to sometimes work through it.
Yeah, that's the hardest part of racing is, I don't know. Yeah, just getting past the losses. And I don't know. It's back to your point earlier. It's definitely hard it was just mentally hard trying to race 4 times, because you like have to prepare yourself. And I mean, obviously that race was like the most nerve-wracking and the hardest because it's an individual. You can't rely on anyone but yourself and obviously God, but like physically like yourself. And so it's definitely, I don't know. It takes a toll. I'm glad I kind of get like a couple week break to outdoor.
Yeah. Well, and everybody needs that. And, I've talked to Tristan, the athlete that won, and he was very nervous going in, more so than his relays. For perspective to anyone listening that doesn't know Tristan Trevino that runs for Marian University, he was the anchor of the 4x8. They set the national record. He anchored the DMR. They won. Their team won the meet, and he won the mile. And he said, I wasn't nervous about relays, but I was nervous about running the mile. And he specifically named you. He's like, I knew that I would have to race Camden. And when he took off with 2 laps to go, that was a bold move, and that was really impressive. So even though you may not have won, the competitors are thinking about you, right? Like you're in their mind when they're preparing, and that's really quite a compliment. Like they're thinking about you when they're training or when they're racing.
I think that's the coolest. And I can't speak for the NCAA or D1 or anything because I've never ran there, but I think that's the coolest thing about the NAI and the Crossroads League and stuff is like I have been racing with these guys for 3 years, so I know them all by name, and I've had a lot of good conversations. Like at 30 minutes after Tristan beat me, we were just talking about life for, what's he going to do with his major and all this stuff. And like actually getting to know them. Like I feel like if you humanize your competition, you feel a lot less nervous. Like, the people there, they feel exactly how you do. So that's one of the cool things about, a bunch of small schools, and you just get to know everyone that you're racing.
Well, and a lot of the best distance runners in the NAIA come from the Midwest Crossroads League, which Spring Arbor is in. It's crazy. Some of the best cross-country runners and track runners, Indiana Wesleyan, Taylor, Goshen, Marion, Cornerstone. Like there's a lot of really good runners in those schools. So we see them over and over again, which pushes you to be better.
Yep, for sure.
Well, one of your goals all season was to break 4 minutes in the mile. Last summer, you ran a road race, the Ryan Shea Mile in Charlevoix, and you ran exactly 4 flat. And I know this year you've been hunting for that elusive sub 4. You knocked 6 seconds off your PR from last year. You ran a 4:03 for your best this season. So what do you think have been some of the main components that helped you leap forward in your performance this year and drop a big chunk of time?
Honestly, just last year I kind of started this a little bit, but I think it's finally setting in is just my routine. Like I try to sleep 9 hours a night consistently. Not that I'm great about it all the time, but I try and eat good. And, I make college student poor meals still, but I try and buy like good foods, organic foods. And so I don't eat a lot of sweets. Like I don't really ever eat like ice cream or like occasionally. My thing is I go on like a bender of eating like ice cream, like a whole pint of it, and then I won't touch it again for a couple of months. But like all that to say, like I don't eat very many sweets. I don't eat like bad dyes or processed foods for the most part. Like I think that's a big part of it, like my diet that I never used to do. And just honestly.
Your mom never told you that.
No,
anyway.
but I trained hills this summer for the first time because that was nice. I lived up north and I didn't have to, normally in the summer I'm training in Armada where I'm from, and that's just really flat. So I got good hills in,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think I'm stronger now. Like I'm a junior, and so I can handle the 70 miles in the summer, and the cross season gave me a really good base. And I kind of just believed that I could do it, and then I went out there and I did it. Like I think that's the biggest thing is like, I realized like what could go right in the race, and so I kind of just I thought like, what's the best thing I can do in this race? And then I went out there and I tried to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, it didn't go perfectly. Like I didn't break 4 minutes, although I wish I'm confident that I still can, but it kind of sucks because outdoor doesn't run the mile. And
Right.
and I don't want to break 4 minutes on like a road race. Cause even though that's cool, it's like, I want to break it on a track where it like actually like counts. And
Right.
but yeah, I think a lot of factors lead into that. And honestly, like some things I don't know. I guess I got to thank the Lord for a great gift that He gave me because, I can only do so much. I was kind of just born with it. So
Well, hard work
yeah,
pays off too. And I think it's worth noting that you did live up north most of the summer, but you did work a manual labor job. You worked on a farm, you did a lot of mowing, a lot of physical stuff. And then when you were done with that, being outside all day and working hard, you would go run. So that was a long day, and that made you really strong. And I'm
yeah,
not necessarily advocating for that because, for some people that would exhaust them and make them overtired, but you had a lot of physical strength that you didn't have before. And I think that maybe played a role.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely helped me be like resistant to fatigue more, but yeah, I mean it's exhausting to do that, and
Mhm.
I'm not doing that again this summer. I'm just gonna hopefully find a non-manual labor job, pay for school because I'm tired of trying to run 70 miles a week and
Right,
work. It's just
right.
impossible to do. So
Well, in cross country, you also had some pretty big leaps in performance. Dropped your PR significantly, got close to 24 flat. What is your PR now? 24:13?
yeah, it's something.
Okay.
I think it's 14,
Okay.
but it's something like that.
Um,
Yeah.
the conference meet, the Crossroads conference meet, some of the best distance runners in the NAIA. I don't know, with like half a mile to go, maybe you made a pretty decisive move, rounded the corner, took off, and then had to turn the corner and come down the finish stretch. And then you ended up actually breaking the course record at IWU. So, what do you think helped you feel like you were confident and bold enough to put that out there and finish it through?
Um, honestly, I don't know that I had to work that race for sure. I mean, like I was I was definitely to the well in that race. Um, Honestly, I have to thank my Coach Cam, because with like 1,200 to go, um, I didn't know where I was necessarily at in the race, and I was falling back. I saw the pack started to drop me, but I knew that most of those guys were 5K guys, and so I knew I had the kick, but I just needed to be within striking distance. And Coach Cam was like, "You just need to kick this last 12. Like, you got to start moving. You only have 1,200 left." And when that like hit my mind, I'm like, I just need a kick. And so I pretty much just kicked the whole last K. Um, and those guys I was running against are great 5Kers, and this is nothing against them. Like they definitely have great kicks, but I just think that's one advantage of being a miler is just at the end of the race, I have a little more to give, I guess. And so I don't know if it was necessarily anything I did, but also the course is really flat, so that was
Mhm.
nice. I don't really like hilly courses, and so I don't know who does, but that that played to my advantage, I think. So yeah, I mean, I would just say, just my goal is always be with the leaders with like a K to go, because then I
Mhm.
know I have a good chance. So
Well, from my perspective too, when you turned the corner and went, it was like you were shot out of a cannon. And the gap got so big so fast. I don't think anybody really could respond. And by the time they did start to kick, there was just no time.
Yeah.
But the straightaway is really long and kind of windy, so you can't see from certain points of it to the finish. So I was standing watching you come around the curve down that last straightaway after you made your big move. I'm yelling, "Don't let off the gas! Don't let off the gas!" And then I couldn't see if you won. I was assuming you had because, the next person didn't really have that much real estate to make up that time. But I had to text my aunt at the finish line, and she had to tell me, "Yeah, he won." And then the cool thing too was Flow Track was there and snagged a pic of you on the ground drooling. So
Yeah,
hey, that shows the real grit of cross country.
Yeah. I mean, that finish was brutal because that's another thing that honestly probably helped me win is I kicked quote unquote too soon. I thought the race was closer than it was. And when that straightaway just didn't stop, like I was like, I can't stop now. I have to just keep digging. And it hurt, but I think it paid off. But yeah, that's cool that Flow Track was there. I mean, I hope that helped me get on the map a little bit because my goal is by the end of my career to get free shoes. I want to somehow get a deal so that I can just get free shoes because I don't like paying $160 every time I have to get new shoes.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's out there listening and you want Camden to wear your shoes, give me a call.
Yeah, seriously. But no, it was cool.
Yeah. Well, they've snagged you twice now. That meet, and then at the Mayo Invitational at Notre Dame, you were in the open mile. Yeah. Kind of funny, you couldn't get in the elite mile, and then it ended up you won the elite mile, or excuse me, the open mile, and that time would have been fast enough in the elite mile to place. But I loved their caption. It was NAIA takes one over the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show that. I mean, obviously NAIA doesn't have near as much depth as D1 or NCAA, but I do think the top guys on the NAIA are definitely comparable to maybe mid to low end D1 guys and D2 guys. Mm-hmm. Like, I think, 4 minutes in the mile, although there is trackflation, like it's good no matter what division you're in. So, and that definitely stung a little bit because I'm pretty confident I could have went under 4 if I was in the elite heat, just because the pace lights there was more people and the pace lights were set for faster. But
and that track is big. It's 320 meters.
Yeah, that was kind of a hack too.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, which is probably why they don't count records there.
Yeah.
So. Well, if you could participate in a dream meet, like if you could travel and race, whether it be a mile or the cross country season, where would you like to go run that you haven't been able to?
Like just like an invitational,
an indoor meet, an outdoor meet, or a cross country meet. Yeah.
That's a great question. I would say I would like to do some sort of elite. I don't know what a name of an invitational. I'm sure there's one somewhere, but an elite mile outdoor, like on a 400. That'd be nice because like the mile's fun, but on a 200 bank, it's just annoying. I feel like sometimes, and I would love to race with like 355 guys on like on like a crisp evening on like an outdoor track. That would like if I could do that, I'm confident I could run like a pretty good time, and so that would be like my dream scenario. Although I know they don't run very many miles outdoors.
I wonder if they do that at like Penn Relays or Drake Relays or
I'm not sure.
Those places. I'm not sure either. I know mile outdoor is kind of a niche thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to shift gears a little bit. So we're going to talk about ankylosing spondylitis. So this is something I'm not sure anyone really knows about you outside of your family and close friends. And you're going to be pretty transparent in talking about this. You were diagnosed by a pediatric rheumatologist when you were about 11. And it's been a part of your life ever since. So people living with ankylosing spondylitis experience a range of symptoms. Everybody who has it, has a different presentation. For some, they'll have mild back pain and stiffness, kind of comes and goes. Others have much more serious, severe, constant back pain or fusion of their spine. And So some of the following symptoms I'm going to read, this is from the National Institutes of Health, are just some of the ones you could have. So inflammation, stiffness, joint pain, skin rashes, bowel issues, although I feel like all runners have those.
Yeah.
Weight loss of appetite, difficulty taking a deep breath because ankylosing spondylitis can affect your rib cage. Changes in your vision. You can have iritis, which is an inflammation of your eye, fatigue, stomach pain. So the Arthritis Foundation points out AS may affect a person's lungs, their digestive tract, their eyes, their heart. Researchers still do not know the exact cause of AS. That's the abbreviation. A person's genes probably play a role. More than 95% of Caucasians have the protein marker called HLA-B27. I have it. My brother has it. Your sister has it. You have it. So I'm sure genetics played a role there. And then a triggering event like a bacterial infection is usually necessary to trigger the immune system and AS to begin. So the thought is bacteria can get into the bloodstream, triggers your immune system, and then AS develops if you already are predisposed genetically. And you had a pretty long string of strep throat infections as a kid. And that is one of the biggest triggers is strep. So listening to the description of this disease, it's a rheumatic arthritic disease and the symptoms, it really is pretty amazing that you can run at the level that you do. I mean, your rheumatologists have always encouraged you to move. Movement is helpful. And they've always said that running and participating in sports were very beneficial to you outside of football and gymnastics. No handstands. But for a lot of folks, the end game is going on a biologic drug to suppress the immune system like Humira or Enbrel. And fortunately, you have not had to be medicated and you have remained overall very healthy. While doctors have encouraged you to run and you have done really well, that doesn't mean that you have never suffered from any symptoms. So let's talk about what do you experience as your main symptoms, and then how do they manifest themselves in your daily life or in your running?
Honestly, my main symptoms are just like pain, joint pain. It's almost always my upper back and neck. Like you said about the rib cage, it definitely gets sharp pain sometimes. I take deep breaths because my upper back is just so stiff in my rib cage, which hasn't necessarily affected my racing, which is good. But yeah, I mean, I have to be really just good with recovery because those high mileage weeks in cross country are just brutal. Anything over 60, especially when you get to 75, 80, it's I don't know. I don't know what it would be like to be in a normal, a person without it. Maybe it's not as different, but I don't know. The inflammation seems pretty severe. Sometimes I can't bend my knee at all and stuff. I mean, I'm still able to run, but it's just painful. And so I don't know. I have thought a lot about getting medicated for it because I almost wonder what if I could do even more if I just had this medication so that I wasn't inflamed as much and my joints would work better. So I don't know. But I mean, yeah, I'm glad that I'm able to be successful still. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there are give and takes, I guess you could say, with biologic drugs. So there's, side effects and things to consider. So that's why we've gone back and forth. One of them being because it is suppressing your immune system, you tend to catch other things like colds more easily than you would, So yeah, it's just weighing the options. The good thing is, though, in your radiology, so your MRIs and your x-rays, you have not had fusion. So if a patient with AS demonstrates in their radiology that their vertebrae are beginning to fuse, then drugs are no longer an option. You have to go on them because your spine will continue to calcify. And, there's no backwards regression of that. It doesn't fix. So you got to prevent because once it starts, it's not going to stop. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, do you think that running has helped keep your symptoms at bay or lessened how severe they are?
Yeah, honestly, I think there's like a happy medium, obviously. Like if I don't do any running, like I honestly figured that out. I had to take like 5 days off after indoor. Um, I was only gonna take like a day or two, but I was kind of cooked, and I rolled my ankle just walking to class. I have weak ankles, and I rolled it really bad, so I had to take a couple days off. But all I have to say, like, um, the last couple of days, I've actually felt really stiff. I thought I was gonna feel good, but I think it's just because I was just going to class and doing homework and sitting down all day and not running. But then also like 70-mile weeks, 80-mile weeks are rough. Now I do think those 85, 80-mile weeks will be fine if I just can recover better. If I get like those massages and I roll out and stuff, I think I'll be fine, honestly. But honestly, no running might be the worst thing because my body's not using those joints as much. So
yeah, and that's what your rheumatologist said too. He's like, movement's great. It helps. I know when you played varsity basketball in high school, you were in a lot more pain during that season than running because you had a lot more contact. You were looking up a lot at the basket. You were using your arms more. And then you were falling on the hard floor quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that, you had a lot more inflammation and pain during basketball, I think, from my perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some extra things that you have to do to keep healthy that, an average person who isn't diagnosed with this would not have to worry about?
Honestly, I don't do as much as I should. I just don't want to be a crippled old man, like hunched over by the time I'm like 50. But, I mean, one of the things I talked about earlier is just like I try not to eat that much sugar, like because sugar is inflammatory. And I noticed when I like yesterday, I ate a whole like pint of ice cream because me and my friends are hanging out, and I was just like, oh, why not? And then got up to run this morning, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I won't be touching that for a while, but yeah, I just try not to eat like foods that are going to cause more problems. But honestly, I just try and recover and eat well. And I don't do a perfect job by any means, but that definitely helps.
Right. Well, what is one thing you wish people knew about ankylosing spondylitis?
I wish people could feel like the pain of like getting up early in the morning, or like the neck pain that I have, or like actually the most annoying thing is like sitting in class or sitting in chapel or just like looking at something. Like I have to be straight forward. If I'm like at an angle, my neck will be like killing me, even if it's only for like a minute. Like I have to like readjust it and like dig into my neck because like either I get out of an adjustment really quick, so I need to go like to the chiropractor or just whatever. Like I wish people would know like the daily life, because I don't want to like go around like saying like, oh, this is terrible, like because like it's not that bad, but like I don't know. I would just say like it definitely affects your daily life, like especially in the winter. Like just the little things you do, you're always in at least like a base amount of pain.
Yeah, cold is really hard on AS patients, and a lot of them actually go live in warm states because it helps their symptoms. One of the accommodations you had when you were a middle school student and you were first diagnosed, your doctor said he cannot stand outside in the cold and wait for school to open. So you were allowed to go inside the doors and wait inside when it was winter because, that made your joint pain a lot. Made your joint pain a lot worse. So, yeah, I'm sure you're really minded. It was just terrible being singled out. Yeah. Little known fact, the lead singer of Imagine Dragons, Dan Reynolds, he has ankylosing spondylitis. So, did you know? Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, Camden, it has been an incredible year so far for you. We'll see what the future brings. I know some decisions are kind of on your plate as far as what you're going to do next, but, keep working hard and following your dreams. And Dad and I are really proud of you. So it's exciting to see what could happen. And thanks for coming on and chatting with me.
Yep. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Words cannot express how thankful and blessed I am to have been able to do this for another year. Please share an episode to help spread the word about Blue Water Running's mission, which is to feature and celebrate the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from our area. You can follow Blue Water Running on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, along with meet and athlete reports and photos on the website at bluewaterrunning.org. If you are interested in sponsoring coverage or partnering with Blue Water Running as an advertiser to reach and support local athletes, please reach out via our website or social media channels.